Hello and welcome to the DigitalBridge Group Inc. Annual Meeting of Stockholders. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Questions may be submitted via the questions box to the right of your screen. By typing your message and clicking the submit button, the meeting is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nancy A. Curtin, Chairperson of the Board of DigitalBridge Group Inc., and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to call to order our 2026 Annual Meeting of Stockholders. In accordance with our bylaws, I will serve as chairperson of this meeting. We will first conduct the formal business of the meeting by voting on the proposals described in our proxy materials. As is our custom, we will answer questions about the proposals and the company following presentation of the proposals and the conclusion of the meeting. Only stockholders may submit a question. Should you wish to submit a question during the meeting, please click on the questions box to the right of your screen, type your question into the text box, then click the submit button. Please note that in the interest of all stockholders, we will only address those questions that are pertinent to the business of the meeting. Before proceeding further, I'd like to introduce the company's other directors and certain officers who are present at the meeting. James Keith Brown, Jeannie Diefendorfer, Mark C. Ganzi, CEO of the company, Gregory J. McCrae, Shaka Rashid, Dale N. Reese, David M. Tolley, Jay Wintraub, Ben Jenkins, President and Chief Investment Officer, Thomas Mehrhofer, Chief Financial Officer, Liam Stewart, Chief Operating Officer, Jeffrey Goldschein, Chief Legal Officer and Secretary, and Severin White, Head of Public Investor Relations. We have received an affidavit from our proxy solicitation agent certifying to the mailing of notice of this meeting commencing on April 28, 2026, to stockholders of record at the close of business on the record date, April 24, 2026, wherein the company furnished to such stockholders a proxy statement, annual report for the period ended December 31, 2025, and a proxy card. This affidavit, together with copies of the notice meeting, proxy statement, annual report, and proxy card, will be filed with the minutes of the meeting. Barry Rosenthal of the American Stock Transfer and Trust Company has been appointed Inspector of Elections and has taken his oath. A copy of his oath will be filed with the minutes of the meeting. As of the record date, there were 182,378,179 shares of our Class A common stock and no shares of our Class B common stock outstanding. The Inspector of Elections has advised me that a quorum is now present. Therefore, this meeting is duly organized for the transaction of business. We will now commence with the formal business of the meeting. The first item of business on the agenda is the election of the 9 individuals to serve as members of the Board of Directors of the company for 1-year terms until the 2027 Annual Meeting of Stockholders and until their successors are duly elected and qualified. Under the company's bylaws, the only persons who have been properly nominated are those nominees listed in the company's proxy statement. Myself, Nancy A. Curtin, James Keith Brown, Jeannie Diefendorfer, Mark C. Ganzi, Gregory J. McCrae, Shaka Rashid, Dale N. Reese, David M. Tolley, Jay Wintraub. I there declare the nominations for directors are closed. The proposal to elect the 9 nominees is described in detail in the company's proxy statement distributed in connection with this meeting, and the following resolution is deemed duly presented at the meeting.
Resolved that the stockholders of the company hereby vote to elect each of the 9 nominees identified above to serve until the 2027 Annual Meeting of Stockholders and until their successors are duly elected and qualified.
The second item of business on the agenda is the approval on a non-binding basis of the compensation of the company's named executive officers, which is described in detail in the company's proxy statement distributed in connection with this meeting. The following resolution is deemed duly presented at this meeting.
Resolved that the compensation paid to the company's named executive officers as disclosed in the proxy statement pursuant to Item 402 of Regulation S-K, including compensation discussion and analysis, compensation tables, and narrative discussion, is hereby approved on an advisory basis.
The third item of business on the agenda is the approval of the amendment to the DigitalBridge Group Inc. 2024 Omnibus Stock Incentive Plan. The following resolution is deemed duly presented at this meeting.
Resolved that the amendment to the DigitalBridge Group Inc. 2024 Omnibus Stock Incentive Plan in the form presented in the proxy statement is hereby approved.
The fourth item of business on the agenda is the ratification of the appointment of Ernst & Young LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for 2026, which is described in detail in the company's proxy statement distributed in connection with this meeting. In addition, representatives of Ernst & Young LLP are here today to respond to any appropriate questions stockholders may have during the question and answer period later in the meeting. The following resolution is deemed duly presented at this meeting.
Resolved, stockholders of the company hereby ratify the appointment of Ernst & Young LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
The polls are now open for voting on these proposals via the Vote My Shares tab at the top right of your screen. The floor is now open for questions or comments from the stockholders of the company concerning any of these proposals. Please note that in the interest of all stockholders, we will only address those questions that are pertinent to the business of the meeting.
There are no questions.
If there are no further questions, we will proceed with the meeting. If you've already voted your shares and do not wish to change your vote, no action is required at this time. If you have not yet voted or would like to change your vote, you may do so now by clicking the Vote My Shares tab at the top right of your screen. If you previously voted by proxy, submission of a new vote will revoke your prior proxy. I will ask the Inspector of Elections to review all submitted votes. There being no further ballots, I declare the polls are closed. All ballots and proxies are now in the custody of the Inspector of Elections. The Inspector of Elections has determined that our preliminary counts indicate that the proposals 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been approved by the necessary votes. Therefore, the resolution for such proposals have been duly adopted. The report of the Inspector of Elections, which contains the final vote totals, will be filed with the minutes of this meeting in the company's minute book and in our 8-K that will be filed with the SEC. This concludes the 2026 Annual Meeting of the company stockholders, and I now declare this meeting adjourned. I want to thank all of you for attending today's meeting. We are grateful for your interest and support of DigitalBridge. Stay safe and well.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes today's presentation. We thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect and have a wonderful day.